Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have a review of the Dunkirk, a ship that's been in the game for quite a while, but I figured, hey, these are the ships that have been out for a while. It's time to go back, look at them, especially now because like when Dunkirk came out, we didn't have ARM review, so I figured this is a nice little updated review of the Dunkirk as well. I haven't done one on this channel, and I recently acquired this ship, so we're going to be going over the commander, the build, the stats, all of that stuff, and then we have an excellent game. We have a six-pack game, a Kraken +1 for a little bit later in the video. So definitely a good time all around. I do have to say, I did end up getting the Dunkirk for free. I won the WoW's Champions season, and they let me pick any premium, and I picked the Dunkirk. Right now, that same website, wowsbuilds.com, is currently putting on a competition to win the Weimar. So apps, if you're interested in that, head over to wowsbuilds.com. I'll have a link down in the description. They have a current competition going on. We've also made a video on that, and you can check that out also. So with all that said, let's now go ahead and dive on in. Let's first go ahead and talk the commander. We're running Azure Lane Dunkirk. Of course, Dunkirk, well, being the name of the ship, she's kind of optimized for these forward barrel Richelieu, Jambot, Dunkirk style ships. Her base rate is going to reduce the flooding damage to your ship, and then we are running Scharnhorst and Andrew Cunningham as the two inspirations. And then as far as the skills go, we're running Flammable Cannoneer, which increases the main battery range, and shell grouping for your battleships, but increases the chances of catching fire. We're running Gyrating Drill Bits, which increases the main battery traverse speed and AP shell damage of the battleship at the cost of decreased maximum speed. Megalomania, which reduces the duration of increased detectability of your battleship after firing the main guns, as well as quickening the reload time of the ship's maximum but it does decrease the maximum HP. Then we're running Master Mechanic to get an extra repair charge, and you get 2 once you boost this all the way. And finally, Fighting Fire with Fire, just so that if we do get overwhelmed with our repair party, we do have a way to extinguish fires if we are really being set alight, which you are being a lot, especially with Weimars out there on the ocean right now. As far as mod slots in the first one, we are running that main battery mod 1. Of course, you could run the unique turret buff, which is arm durability, which basically boosts the HP and survivability of the 2 main turrets. It's a unique thing that is available for these French battleships. I don't really find it necessary, but it is cool that this ship does have access to that unique mod slot. I am just running the bare basic main aiming systems mod 1. Then the other one that I'm running is propulsion mod 2. You could really switch between steering gears and propulsion mods, but with Dunkirk, where how it's a much more of a stationary battleship, right? You kind of get to a position and you stick there. You find your angle, you hold your angle. That's what Dunkirk excels at. I find propulsion mod really good for that, just in case you need to get moving because you think torpedoes are on the way. Propulsion mod, I feel like, saves you more than the rudder shift, where if you're more of an open water battleship, then the rudder shift definitely assists you there. Finally, let's go ahead and go over those consumables. The first one is going to be Damage Control Party. It's going to last for 15 seconds, and it's going to reload every 80 seconds, and you have unlimited charges of it. Then you have Repair Party. We have 4 charges if you max out, or not even max out, if you upgrade Dunkirk all the way. The commander, that is, you can get up to 5 charges of this. You're going to repair 267 hit points per second. It's going to last 28 seconds, and it's going to reload in 75.2 seconds. And right now, we have 4 charges. Then you have the ability to switch between the fighter, the catapult fighter, the spotter plane, and enhanced secondary targeting. Secondaries on the ship, not exactly the greatest, and fighter planes, the AA isn't great, but I think what will be more beneficial to you, especially because the ship does tend to have that French spread of main guns, the spotter plane is where it comes in. Of course, when you have the spotter plane up, it does boost the shell grouping of the main guns by 10%. It's going to last for 30 seconds. It's going to have a reload time of 200 seconds, and it's going to have 3 charges. with all that said, now let's go ahead and dive on in to the stats of the vessel. So Dunkirk, she's going to have 50,500 hit points with an armor thickness between 16 and 340 millimeters. We'll go ahead over to that wonderful armor view. And as we can see, the bow and deck of the ship is pretty much coated in 25 millimeters of armor, which is great because at the tier, the majority of the battleships at the tier have 356 millimeter guns. 356 millimeter guns are not able to overpen 25 millimeters of armor. The ships you'll have to worry about are like Byron, West Virginia, and Queen Elizabeth are the ones that you're going to have to worry about at the same tier, and there'll be quite a few more if you're facing some tier 6 ships. As far as Citadel goes, it is a rather large citadel, but it is submerged under the water, and it's a little bit narrower than the ship itself. So I would say it's a fairly secure citadel. You can absolutely be hitting it if you're not playing correctly, but it's not exposed like it would be when it's above the water. Torpedo reduction on the vessel, 25%. And that wraps up that little section. Main battery of the vessel, 2 4-barreled 330 millimeter cannons with a firing range of 17.4 kilometers and a reload time of 26.6 seconds, giving you a shell per minute of 18. 180 time on those guns, 31 seconds, and an HE damage of 4,800. DPM for HE, 86,400 with a 35% chance to set fire. AP damage, what you're going to be firing most of the time, 10,282, giving you a DPM of 185,076, which is not too shabby at all. One nice thing to mention is because of the below 30-second reload time, you will end up being able to get 2 full salvos out of the spotter plane, which is definitely a nice little benefit. Secondaries as 2 2-barreled and 3 2-barreled 130 millimeter cannons with a firing range of 4.5 kilometers and a reload of 5 seconds. They're going to do 1,900 damage, and there's going to be a 9% chance to set fire. There are no torpedoes on Dunkirk, so we don't have to go over that stat, but it does have an AA armament. AA range is going to be 5.2 kilometers, and it's going to do 54 damage at 5.2 kilometers, and it's going to increase up to 106 damage per second at the closest ring of AA damage. Not the greatest, but it's still there, and it's a little bit better than some of the battleships out there. Max speed of the vessel, 27.4 knots with a turning radius of 730 meters. Rudder shift time on the vessel, 11.2 seconds. Detectability by sea, you're going to be doing 14 kilometers by sea. Detectability by air, 11.7 kilometers. And when firing in smoke, not that you'll be doing that too often, is going to be 11.9. And that is the stats of the Dunkirk. Let's now go ahead and head on into a game with her. So here we are on Neighbors, and this one is going to be a pretty fun game. Ideally here on Neighbors, what we're going to want to do is sort of seek cover in those islands, set up a crossfire, and kind of wait for the enemies to come to us, or at least kind of pick them off while they are at range. That's what I like to do when I'm in this build spot, because, well, you can either go to the open ocean off to the right, or play in the islands, and at least the islands give you some sort of cover. The only really vulnerable time you have is when you're making this open ocean crossing. So assuming you don't have any too fast destroyers on the other side, you should be pretty safe when doing it. Now overall, I just say Dunkirk has been a pretty fun ship overall. The accuracy on it was sometimes questionable. I was originally running a different build before I sort of went to a more accuracy focused build. Once I did that, it was absolutely much better of a ship, and one that started producing some pretty great results like the one you're about to see here. Anyways, we have a Kirov sailing pretty much flat broadside, and well, we are going to attempt to teach him a lesson. We see some smoke pops up behind him, so either a British cruiser or a destroyer is out there. Kirov still seeming to sail at a fairly flat broadside, and sadly our shells fall short right there. I feel like I've been seeing that a lot more lately, where the shells fall short. It's starting to get a little annoying. I don't know what Wargaming did, but it does feel like something is a little amiss with that. But We do also have this Nuremberg, who's now closer to us, so and sailing towards us was going to be an easier shot, and well, he doesn't have much health, so we're just going to say thank you for the kill, and that racks up the first kill of the game. Well, first kill of the game for our team. Kirov, well, he's still out there broadside, so we're going to try and reacquire him as the target. Dunkirk, as we were talking about earlier in the armor section, and as you can see just by the inherent layout of the ship, is a ship that likes being pointed towards the action, and that's about it. You don't really want to be pointed anywhere broadside. We hit the Citadel on the Kirov right there and take him down. That's kill number 2. We now see that we have a group of cruisers kind of sailing in the open off to this left-hand flank, and it's time to push on through. Ideally, we would have liked to have stayed at that by that island for some shelter, but given the way that these guys are pushing through our team on this side, there are some juicy crossfires that we can take advantage of, and there's our first one right there. Citadel on the Furutaka taking nearly half of its health. He drops spot. We're going to go ahead put full reverse, keep this island between us and the enemy battleship that is in the back of their spawn, or at least near their base. We can see Furutaka is still pushing forward, so if we can continue to hit him like we just did, it's going to be a pretty juicy day for us. And you know, Furutaka, not exactly known for its huge armor. Sadly, we do get 2 overpens through his superstructure right there. We can see their New Mexico kind of starting to peek around the corner right there. We want to keep ourselves angled into him. Of course, if we do that, he won't be able to do much. He may be able to get some hits on our superstructure, but given that the majority of the ship is coated in 25 millimeters of armor, we're well angled to him. His 356 millimeter guns not going to do much to the Dunkirk. Furutaka continuing just to sail straight on to try to, I think, torp our ship, but we do go ahead and knock him fairly well right there, and that brings us up to a 3rd kill. Now we just kind of need to keep our eyes open. We have a New York, I think we have 2 New Yorks, or 2 New York and a New Mexico. Yeah, New York and a New Mexico, so 2 American battleships. We know if they don't angle correctly, we are going to do some very good damage to them. We've gone ahead and used our first repair party, and it's about to come down on cooldown. New York somewhat angled to us, but we are able to get through that armor, and we get a pretty decent salvo there. We're just reversing because at this point, one of them can go ahead and get a crossfire on us. If we can go ahead and reverse, we may be able to use this island as cover, so that then we're only really engaging the New York and this Pensacola. Pensacola, flat broadside, and he looks very juicy, though New York is about to go down as well. Pensacola, how do we do? Not quite well. 4 overpens right there. And now we're going to go ahead and concentrate on New York, because if we can eliminate the guns on New York, that is exactly what we want to do. Eliminating guns, taking them out of the play, is always going to be a good play. It removes DPM from the enemy team. You want to be able to remove that DPM, just because then that's less damage the enemy team is able to do to your team. We take another big juicy salvo, leaving New York with just a little bit of health, and we're just like, okay, come on, this could be kill number 4. We might be able to get kill number 4 here, and we're close to the Kraken. We're just waiting on these guns to reload. We can also see Pensacola pushing our enemy battleship up, our friendly battleship up there, which is sort of surprising for him, because yes, he can do some damage to battleships, assuming he's positioned correctly, but it doesn't look like he's too well positioned for that currently. Now New York goes down, and Pensacola, we see him, and we're like, well, it's a cruiser, and we know we can easily get through his armor. Let's go ahead, chase down this Pensacola, get it for the kill. Our battleships are kind of sailing into a crossfire with the 2 remaining enemy battleships. We'll let them deal with those battleships. We'll go ahead, sail after the Pensacola, secure the Kraken. It'll be a good time. We'll be able to celebrate, you know, all the great things. And while we do this, I'll go ahead and just talk about Dunkirk overall. I've been really enjoying the ship. One, I do really enjoy, with it being a premium ship, I do really enjoy it being a somewhat unique ship at the tier. I think it's the only one that really has this sort of double turret in superstructure. Ooh, we do get a beautiful citadel on Pensacola, though, right there. And I think this is what starts to scare him away, because he is going to go unspotted after this salvo, and we are going to chase after him for quite some time, because he has decided that he does not want to deal with us. But I think Dunkirk, very unique ship for the tier, very unique layout for the tier, and it is truly a unique ship. Thinking about it, you have Dunkirk. Then at the next tier, you maybe could consider Nelson in the same tier, but I really wouldn't, because I feel like they're two very different playstyles of ship, where Nelson you want to be somewhat angled on, and this one you need to be like dead at. Nelson you want to be at like a 45-degree angle that you're then able to swing in and close that angle when you have certain shells incoming, where Dunkirk you just want to be nose in. It's very much like a tier 5 Richelieu or Jean Bart. It's a unique playstyle, especially for the tier, when you look at the rest of the battleships at the tier. And I think it's really fun. Now, I do have to say, I do feel weird that Dunkirk feels like it never goes on sale. It's instead of it being in the actual store, it's in the premiums tab in the tech tree ships. It's weird that it's there, and because of that, it doesn't really come up for sale. And that's one of the things I have to say is a little disappointing for me, which is the reason why I ended up choosing Dunkirk when I was given the opportunity to pick a free premium, because, well, it doesn't go on sale. Might as well save myself the doubloons compared to ones that either go on sale or I can easily use coupons on. Anyways, we do see that we are currently being spied, which means Pensacola is somewhere in one of these rings, is well within our detection ring, but not. He's not within ours, which is unfortunate, because we are wasting a ton of time, and our team is taking some big hits. We can see that the PE Friedrich is sailing at the edge of our range of fire. So at some point we may just give up, kind of lure the Pensacola into firing at a broadside Dunkirk. Of course, he does have American AP as a cruiser, and that American AP can absolutely do damage to us. It can take some pretty big chunks, but I'm fairly confident that we would be able to even if he gets a couple of good salvos on us, easily defeat him. Anyways, we turn in, get the PE Friedrich within our range, and we can see we get a couple of hits right there. We're just going to go ahead and start pushing this way. We've lost a couple of teammates. We want to make sure we're not throwing away the game by chasing this Kraken. It was a nice dream to try to go and really quickly finish off the Pensacola to finish the Kraken, but it's very clear that our teammates probably need our support. Also, we are the farthest ship in this direction, so we do have access to some crossfires that our teams do not. We can see Friedrich turning in to angle towards one of our friendlies, giving us the beautiful broadside and access to this crossfire, and we can see this is going to help us and secure the Kraken as we get a citadel on him, leaving the enemy with just the cruiser and with just the Pensacola and the DD. Thankfully, that enemy DD on the other side of the map, or at least that's where he was last spotted. So if we would see him take down probably one of the cruisers or the battleship before he takes us down. So thankfully, we don't really have to worry about him yet. Also, we're not even spotted right now, and we know the Pensacola has to be around here somewhere, right? Like, yes, cruisers have decent concealment. They shouldn't. I don't think he would be this well concealed, but we will find him, because well, we want a six pack, damn it. And look at there he goes. He finally pops up, looking beautiful with that fairly large broadside towards us. Swing the guns around, lock on, and fire. Let's see how this does. He's turning out to try to avoid the shots. We did aim up a little, and that gives us the high cal, exactly what we want, leaving him with under 10,000 hit points. We can see our friendlies firing in now. Thankfully, looking like HE, so it's not going to do too much. We should be able to secure this kill after this next salvo. Waiting on it to reload. Enemy DD has now been spotted near their cap, so thankfully Hopefully the 2 cruisers are able to eliminate him. We go ahead, fire our next salvo. Just a little bit of health left, and we're going to have to wait on the overall reload. But, guys, that's pretty much the game. Overall, tons of fun, decent game. Dunkirk, very fun ship. It is very much a kind of find a spot, lock it down, and try to exploit any weaknesses you see. And that gives us the 6 kills. And hey, that was pretty fun. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.